Hello. Okay, so I've got another 3D mould. It's a tree, Christmas tree, and it's got some sort of delicate bits. I don't know if you can see in there inside, and I'll try and show you how you can cast it and still retain all that detail. It's just making sure all the air bubbles are out of it, basically. It's quite a thick outer. It was a solid one and I had to cut it to get into it, but I will just tape that up to stop anything spilling out. You can brush A1 into it first, or you can just pour it in. I'm going to show you just pouring it in, I think. So yeah, I'm using that light blue, which comes out a beautiful light blue colour. It is 1 part liquid, 2 parts powder. And as always, shake the bottle, turn the scales on, using a silicone cup. Zero the scales, and I will go for the first lot. I'm going to go for 90, so that's 30 liquid and 60 powder to make 90 in total. 29, 30. Okay, it's got a very small hole in the top for easy distribution. Nearly said squirtiness. 1 small squirt gives you about 1 gram, but I wouldn't go on guessing. Use some scales, don't just try and guess it. So yeah, then powder. Add the powder to make 90. $64, $74, $82, yeah, as accurate as possible to get the best mix, and especially when you're trying to, I mean, I'd always try and get your maths right and get your mix, your ratio correct. Pay attention, they're not all 1 to 2, so just make sure you've got the right ratio for the right one. And with the more delicate or intricate moulds, it's even more important to get the mix correct. So then it'll cast to really strong. Words are not my friend today. I'm really sorry. I love the heat, but it does mess with my ME and fibromyalgia, and the brain fog is pretty foggy today. So if I say the wrong things, I apologise now, and I hope that from watching the video it'll make sense, even if my words don't. Okay, so make sure all your powder is mixed in. Don't want any lumps, which I can see a few still. Some people say stir it for 30 seconds, some people say stir it for a minute. basically stir it till it's smooth. So depending on your stirring motion, your utensils for stirring and such. A lot of the acrylic one videos you'll see, which acrylic one is A1, it's the same but different. You'll see them using a like a food mixer sort of tool. Or, yeah, I guess that's what you'd call it. Which obviously, you know, don't then use it to make cakes. This is not edible, it's not food safe. You're perfectly fine making your decorative plates and stuff to put food on, but I would advise putting like a doily or a sheet or something in between, just to be 100% safe, purely because this hasn't actually got a food safety certificate. There shouldn't be an issue because it is non-toxic and eco-friendly and all the rest of it, but technically it hasn't got a food safety certificate, so just put something in between if you were to make like a cake stand or something like that. Make sure that your buns or cakes are in some little cases or something, and you can, if you do a search, you'll see some beautiful pieces. There's some lovely stuff. Okay, so I didn't tape up my mould first, which is probably a bit daft, because now it's going to be setting, curing. How low does it go? Yeah, it goes quite low. I better get a bit of tape on that, hadn't I? So I'm just using some general packaging tape. I'm sure you'll have your preferences as to what you use. Let me move that out of the way and that out of the way so I don't spill it. And then tape it and hold it together. If anything did spill out, it's easy to clean up. It's easy to sand it. Sorry, this is going to sound awful, isn't it, on camera? Ugh. I saw some noise-free tape the other day. Probably should have got some of that. Silent packaging tape. I was quite intrigued, but not enough to actually buy it. Okie dokie. So that's sort of done. Yeah, it'll do. If it spills, it spills. Never mind. Oh, I seem to have spilt it down the side. But it's perfectly safe. It doesn't matter if I get it on my hands. It's not going to hurt me. And I am a messy crafter after all. Okay, so I will pour a bit of it in, not all of it in, and then I'll go for rotating it and pouring it back out. So what I would normally do, which I just didn't then, as I say, brain fog, not working, yeah, I would normally slowly pour it down the sides, which saves then having to try and sort of tip it back out, which you can't see on the camera, and I'll end up spilling it. So yeah, you basically rotate it to get it into all the little bits. Oh, this is just not a good one for camera, is it? Let me get... So yeah, if you like tip it, try and turn it and pour it down from the top so it's going down the sides. It just helps it get into all the little branches, holes, gaps, detail. which much as I've just shown, you can do it by tipping. It's easier if you do it whilst you're pouring, and then it'll trickle down into it. But obviously, because they are horizontal, you do need to hold it at a bit of an angle for it to get into them. So, okay, it's my other tree that's bigger, that takes more. This one's nearly full. So yeah, rotating is a great way to get rid of the air bubbles, get it into all the cracks. I will also tap the sides a lot, all the way round. This should help it get into all those little detailed parts and stick properly. I will also drop it multiple times, and by dropping it I don't mean from this height, I mean a bit lower, because otherwise it will like just and spill everywhere, which, speaking from experience there, I was getting a bit impatient doing some of my Christmas prep for the TV show last year, and got carried away banging it, and instead of just doing it from, you know, a centimetre or so above the table, I did it a bit higher and it just exploded. It was cool, it was really pretty. Right, so yeah, careful you're not letting it fall over. Can you hear when I'm banging? You've got to be careful you don't let it fall over, and basically just banging it lots, which, you know, you can hold it as you're doing it, or you can drop it through your hands, whatever's comfy, just don't spill it. But yeah, with these trees I do lots of repetitive banging and tapping to hopefully get it into all those gaps. Might put a little bit more tape round, as I'm being a bit harsh with it. Oh yes, words is excellent today, isn't it? Coordination, hands, everything, it's all just not working today. I'm really sorry. I hope that this helps you and makes sense and shows you that even when you are, don't swear Penny, not in the best of states, you can still cast something pretty with A1. It does the work for you. You just have to know how to use it and respect it a bit, and you're fine. I can't even see where the gap is now. Oh, it's there, look. Okay, so I ought to have some at the top there, didn't I? This is going to be fun taking off because I've done this like so mismatched. There's a gap there. I mean, it seems to be holding together pretty well anyway. To say it's what I'd call the cheaper silicone, it's still pretty tough. And I've done a few casts. Oh, it's windy. That was my door. I don't know if you heard that. Distractions. I'll be saying squirrel next when one runs past. Anyway, back to this. So yeah, lots of banging and tapping. When it gets to the top, just be careful, which is why I'm doing more now. But I will still do some more when I pour that last bit in if it's not set, because although it's much cooler today, it's still pretty warm. Oops, I went off camera then, didn't I? I'm sorry. So yeah, repetitive as I say, but to get it into all that detail and not lose any, because I want it firm and strong. Yeah, okay. I want it full. Where did my... oh, it's there. Oh, I cleaned that very well. Didn't even recognise it then, it was so clean. Okay, so is it just going to be a little short for me? Oh, that's annoying. Not quite enough. I really should have the measurements of this written down somewhere to be able to mix the correct amount, which is something I do like to do normally, so that then I'm not doing the wrong amount, because that's just so close. If I'd have mixed, whoa, another 20 maybe, then it'd have filled it. Yeah, I do love this light blue, it's one of my favourites. I know a lot of people like green Christmas trees. I like blue Christmas trees. I like green ones as well, but I do like blue, and especially this light blue. Not that Christmas trees are just for Christmas, they're for all year. They are evergreens or everblues in my case. Oh, I'm spilling it again. Spilling it again. It's okay. I'll go. Right, I'd like to fill that to the top. Don't need to fill it to the top, but I'd like to fill it to the top. Shall I? Might not. This is going to be a slightly shorter Christmas tree. I wanted to get all that detail there. Well, it's got detail all the way down, hasn't it? So, oops, things are spoiling. So yeah, like I've said before, lots of tapping, patting, rotating and banging, but only while it's still in its fluid state. As soon as it starts setting, don't do that, because you'll end up breaking off all your branches or your delicate bits or whatever it is, depending on the mould. Did I just go off camera then? I was just busy watching the liquid. Ooh, liquid moving. Mesmerised. Right, now I am going to mix some more. Fill it up. Oh look, I've got a Katy Sue there that's started being filled. I'll have that, and we'll have some more blue trees if I have extra. Okay, so I will go for no, that's going to be way too much, isn't it? I'll just do 10 liquid. One part liquid, 2 parts powder, 10 liquid, 20, what you call it, powder. Come on, 10, that's it, 10. So that will be 30. Right, time. 29. Oh, hey, 30. Okay, so dirty. Put that back there and that back there. Hopefully you can see it, just to remind you. Like you need reminding, I'm using light blue. You can see it in the mould. Yeah, quick mix. So yeah, if I'd have mixed 100 or just over 100, yeah, it'd have filled it. But yeah, like I say, you can pour it in stages, or do it all at once. Well, not all at once, slowly in between. Maybe I ought to just shut up and just let you watch. You can see what I'm doing, can't you? I'm sorry. Are we nice and smooth there? I think we're nice and smooth there. A few lumps. Come on. Quick, quick. And when it's 3D one like this, I do like to leave it just a little bit longer. I mean, I've got the delicate branches that I want to make sure are as tough as possible so they don't snap off. But also it may take just that little bit longer to set in the middle, with it being so deep, wide, thick. Yeah, one of those words probably. Sorry. Okay, that's pretty much to the top, but I want to tap those edges. Let me just get this into my Katy Sue Christmas trees. That one there, I started pouring probably about this time last year, maybe more than that, and it's just been sat on the side waiting for a top up. So yeah, any little moulds, big moulds, whatever, any moulds you've got when you are doing this, make sure you've got others to hand. And then if you should mix too much, you can always put them into moulds, and even if it's not enough, you can come back and fill them up at a later date. No waste. You can of course let it set in your cup, and then when it's cured in the cup, crack it out and use it on something. If you do mixed media, if you do canvases or anything, it makes lovely texture. You've also got the, I always say this wrong, terrazzo technique, I want to call it, that's like your kitchen worktop surface effect, which you can use these bits for. Yes, you can purely pour it out onto a sheet and then break it up into pieces, or when doing these other bits you can let me just do this and then I shall show you. I need to wash that, don't I? I know I've nearly killed this brush, but I can get a bit more out of it. So just give it a little rinse in a bit of water, which I really ought to get some cleaner water, not that you can see it, but it's had a lot of A1 in it, and it'll have got some of it will be cured in the bottom, because it does cure in water. So do not do not wash your utensils in the sink. Wash them in a bowl of soapy water, let the A1 cure and fall to the bottom, and then you can just drain out the water and pick out the A1 sediments to use in another project. You can bin them if you want, obviously. It's perfectly safe to bin, it's non-toxic, eco-friendly, perfectly safe. but I generally pick them out and then put them in a tub to use for either the terrazzo, I think that's the right pronunciation, techniques, or texture on something, or as filler. You can always, when it's a 3D mould like this, pour around the outside, which I did with another of the videos, the skull that I did, rotating it, make sure you've got a nice wall, barrier, skin, whatever around the outside, getting all your detail, and then use some of your pieces as filler inside, so that then you don't need to use as much product. Okay, I'm hoping that's got into those. I mean, I had already poured a bit and got it into some of them, so I'm hoping that's got into these bottom branches, because obviously this will be the bottom of the tree. Now you can use, not that I've got one to hand clean spatula, that's not clean enough, is it? To just go over the top and scrape it over. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to make a real mess if I try and do that. I am going to, however, I've got a little bit of stuff left in here, so I'm going to pour it into these trees and get these trees filled up. Yeah, so I'm thinking it should actually be cured, set in about an hour, but I might leave it just a little bit longer, as I say, because I do think those branches are a little bit delicate. They're not delicate branches, are they? Do you know what I mean? They are like quite triangular, but they have got a little bit of oh, I'll shut up. I just want to leave it a little bit longer to get a bit harder before I take it out of the mould. So that's going to need more adding to it. That's not quite full enough, but that's okay. I might top that up with some green or something later. Doesn't matter. Okie dokie. So, I didn't tap that, did I? But I don't think it matters. It's a tree, it has texture. So, yeah. To know when it's dry, cured, halfway through you're going to feel some heat coming off it. Not too much heat, it doesn't get super duper hot. It will not burn you, but you will feel a bit of heat coming off it. When it is totally cold, it is totally, well, I say totally cured, it's cured enough to remove it from the mould. Your other way is your cup. This is obviously not the light blue cup, this is a terracotta from the other day. With it being a silicone cup, they are squishy, and you will see it just crack off, which, as I say, some people, when they're doing the terrazzo, effect, they will put a sheet of silicone down, mix the A1, do a sheet of it, and then break it up, which basically gives you pieces like this. So yeah, just when you've got your cup, and because it breaks off so cleanly, you don't need to wash your cup. So perfect for someone like me that doesn't tidy up very often. No waste, so it's not like, oh, that product's now just stuck in my cup and I can't do anything with it. You can. I have various jars about the place. Some, oh look, there's my terracotta one, that is just one colour, and Obviously you don't really need to see a multicoloured one, do you? But yeah, I've then got some that have got a mix of colours with smaller pieces, bigger pieces, and as I say, perfect for either filler or texture on a project, easily coloured, so if you don't like the colour of it you can then paint over it, whatever. Okay, so I shall leave it there and be back in an hour or two to take this out of the mould. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours. It's still pretty warm out here, so yeah, we'll have a look at this. Let's get this tape off. Oops. This could be a long process. Where's the end gone? Let me get them scissors. I don't know how I've managed to lose the end. I suppose I didn't put it on that skillfully, did I? It wasn't that neat. They still should be able to find the end of a piece of tape. There we go. Thrilling video of me taking tape off a mould and getting it wrapped around my fingers. From a craft video to a comedy video, maybe. And now I'm just mumbling. Okay, nearly there, nearly there. There we are. Oh, that pink and blue looks quite nice together, doesn't it? Right, oh, I've lost it, there it is. Okay. So, let's pull it back. Yep, I didn't tap it enough. I can see some air bubbles. Can you see those where the air bubbles were? You know, if I'd have tapped it more, or if I'd have brushed it in first, that wouldn't have happened. You can get rid of all the air bubbles. I should have brought my... No, it's not out here. I should have brought my other one out that I cast last year that has absolutely no air bubbles or damage at all. And I basically just tapped and banged it a hell of a lot more than I did, but for this video I didn't want to bore you too much with all the banging and tapping and twisting. But yeah, they're the techniques that you need to do to stop any of those bubbles forming. Well, it's not bubbles. Yeah, it is bubbles, isn't it? It's trapped air. You don't want trapped air. And so the more that you tap and bang, the more you release. Pouring it slower also helps. Doing it in stages. So you pour the first bit, roll it round or brush it in, try and get it into all the gaps. You'll get a layer on the outside, and yeah, just slow and steady, tappy bangy, gets rid of all the air bubbles. And now I can't get it out. Come on. No, it's just flipping back on me. I've got a feeling I had a friend help me release it last year, just because this mould is just so tough. And we need them to hold it while I try and pull it, so that then I don't break off any of the bits. I can't do it. Oh, come on. Please release. Oh, it might be coming, or it might have just broken the top off it. I don't know. There we go. So yeah, I mean, as it's a tree, it doesn't really matter about those bits, but yeah, these little air bubbles here, I just needed to tap and bang where you can blatantly, well, can you blatantly see that it's a bubble? It's very bubble-like, and that wouldn't have happened if I'd have poured it just that little bit slower, just in stages, you know, a little bit in, circulate it, rotate it round a bit, tap it, bang it, help it release, that'll rise to the top, pour a bit more in, so rotate, tap, bang, bubbles rise to the top again, and you just constantly, instead of them getting trapped in such a confined space, you gradually pulling them up each time in stages, and that'll prevent. So I guess in a way it's a good job I didn't do it how you meant to do it, because it shows you that, as you saw, I just pretty much filled it halfway. It filled up quicker than I thought, because my other mould takes a couple of cups full, and for some reason I just, well, you know, I'd say my brain's not working today. So yeah, not perfection, but it's fine, because I'm going to add some snow to it anyway, so any of that will be hidden with other products, which I might actually use some A1 as snow, mixed in some ATP powder to thicken it up, and throw a bit of glitter in. So you might actually see this tree again in another video when I decide to snow it up. We'll see. And then the Katy Sue mould, which, you know, it's a mould. I don't really want to disturb the middle one because I want to fill that up a bit more. But yeah, obviously with the bit green on the outside, that'll just snap off. And there you go. That's how your tree branches are when you brush it in. But obviously it's easy to brush it in on that. I want to call it a 2D mould. But yeah, it's easy to brush it in on that. Just break off those little bits. Just tidy it up a bit. They'll break off a bit more. Whoa, went below. There we go. So yeah, that's that one looking real pretty. Well, I think it looks real pretty anyway. And as I say, this one can be sorted out with the little issues. I'm just sorry it didn't show you the perfect cast, but it is possible to get a perfect cast, slow and steady. I might try and do a better one another time to show it is. Okay. Okay, I've quickly been to grab this one to show you, if it'll focus, that you can do it without as many bubbles. There's the odd one in that, but it's not as severe. That was poured a little bit slower. So yeah, it is possible to get all those delicate pointy bits. Whoa. Full and not breaking. Just take time, slow and steady. Like I say, if you've got room to brush it in, it's better to brush it in, because you're definitely not getting any trapped air in it then. if not in stages, lots of tapping and banging. You don't need to wait for your next stage to set, just do it in smaller increments, and it helps the air release. I think I'm repeating myself now, aren't I? So hey, I shall leave it at that. Here is a blue tree. Hope you learnt something from what I've said as opposed to what I've done, or both maybe. Okay, I'll shut up now. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you did. Thank you very much. Goodbye.